We are some of the Millwall boys. We are some of the nuts. We know our manners. We spend our tanners. We are respected wherever we go. Doors and windows open wide. We're gonna make a noise. Bom, 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 bom. We are the Millwall boys.
What was your street?
In Rotherhithe Street.
Yeah.
As you go, you know, it was right in the heart of the docklands. And my dad used to work in the shipyard opposite. It was Highland and Wharves, Mills and Knights, my dad worked. The boats used to come into dry dock there. So I've been over more boats than you can ever imagine. I used to live on the boats. And the barges used to, at the bottom of the garden, the barges would be unloaded at the bottom of our garden. You know, just over the wall, and there was the river.
Yeah, I remember.
And when we looked out of a bedroom window, it's because the river goes round the bend, we could see onto the river. We could see all the big Cunard liners coming into the docks. See them all being unloaded day or night. Every little alleyway led down to the river. Like there was one opposite me, we could just walk across the road, walk down onto the river where they're safe. And on Sunday afternoons, or if it was a nice day, we used to go through, sit on the wharves there, on the river, sit on there and watch all the action on the river. It was quite nice on the river in those days, actually.
And that's why there are a lot of churches in Birmingham.
And then we used to see didn't we, the pleasure steamers going to the coast from Tower Bridge. There used to be pleasure steamers go through on Sundays mainly, wasn't it? From Tower Bridge to Clacton or
Royal
Southend.
Daffodil, the
Royal Daffodil. We used to go on the pleasure steamers.
Golden
Golden
Eagle, Royal Sovereigns.
Sovereign.
All along the river on Sunday. It was a beautiful sight.
So the Crested Eagle?
Crested Eagle as well.
Yeah.
I think they got
Yeah, it was a nice sight
Two or
looking
three of
from
them
the
got
window. You knew,
Dunkirk.
I knew every flag on the ships where the boats had come from.
The dockers used to share their salaries, like it was an 8-year-old penny to go and get something and all that, and then you hear all the wares coming round, you know, with all the sellers of all the fish and everything keep coming round shouting out, and well, it's just really, and we used to pinch the coal. Remember coal? We used to have the coal barges.
Yeah.
And we used to get lumps of coal to take home to yeah. And the dockers used to shut up by 9 today. Yeah, go on, take it home. We ain't saying nothing.
But I can remember my mum never having much. And I can remember my dad never really sort of coming home from work when he had any work. My nan, fortunately, as I say, we were a close community. Sons, daughters, all lived near their mum. Nan was always on hand.
It was such a close community.
Yeah.
If your mother wasn't in, which was very, very seldom, I must say this, mothers were always at home.
Yeah.
Mothers were always at home. But when you went home, they was always home, wasn't they? They were never out. Your mum never left during the night.
She had 11 children.
She was always there. We lived in 2 rooms and there was 8 children. But the worst thing I hated, I'll tell you this, the worst thing I hated in my life was Friday night bath nights. Taking a tin bath out of the garden, putting it in front of the fire, filling it up with lovely hot water. First my youngest brother would get into it, that would be her father, her grandfather. Then my other brother would get into it. Then my sister would get into it.
You were not.
Then I would get into it.
That's true, isn't it?
And I used to say to Mother, why is that water always yellow?
Ha! Why does it never get cold, isn't it?
She used to say, it's a sunlight soap. Yellow sunlight soap.
Yeah.
But I never ever felt clean when I got out of that bath.
Right near Tower Bridge Park, there wasn't the barges, the ships used to go along, but
You got the beach.
it was more up by getting to Rotherhithe, that part, I can remember.
Yeah.
But the bit right near the Tower Bridge was steps, and over there was the Tower of London.
That's it.
And they had steps and all, but we used to go down there. And when the tide was out, you think it was Well, I didn't know what the seaside
Oh.
or holiday
That's
was.
right.
And you thought it was sand, wasn't it? You know, seaside sand.
Yeah.
But you knew it was mud that used to
Mud,
go
yeah.
under. Yeah, quicksand they called it. And
That's
a
right.
lot
Oh,
of kids
God.
did go.
Yeah.
Didn't they? But I do remember
Yeah.
I did go in that sand and it was like...
This is the central part of the stage where quite a lot of the action will go on. And we're going to have to use a lot of lighting to go from one piece of action to another. Now the reason for that is because we're not following one person's story. There are 60 interviews and there are all of you in this room. And you have a wealth of very different memories and have lived very different lives. And one thing I decided on was that I would not follow one person's story. I can't do it, and I don't think it's fair. No. So it's almost going to be like lots of photographs. It will be like turning over, a photograph out. I mean, if we're talking about the older people playing themselves in particular, or the older people acting out their own reminiscence, or their family reminiscences, or work reminiscences, the actual voice, you're presented with, in a sense, you're presented with the real thing. And the audience is aware of that. And I just feel very strongly that that these stories need to be told. And the stories of so-called ordinary, but I would say extraordinary people, are told.
This morning, was he up early enough? And he said, I don't know. I don't know if he comes and he goes out, I don't know when he's got a job.
Who's that, my husband?
Yeah, your husband, because your husband's never, you said you've got no money, you said you've got
Oh, right. Okay.
I'll
She's got more kids than me.
last night.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I didn't like those timber boats, or those sugar boats. Remember them?
Your shoulder did not suffer, did it?
Man.
How about your hands with the hooks?
Oh yeah. What about when we doing those rotten old taters down the extension?
You know-
I used to come in and my old woman used to say, "Oh, what have you done? Get out of me!" You had to laugh, didn't you?
I wouldn't want my children to know that I'm that worried about feeding them.
Yeah.
So I've got to send Harriet away so that I...
If, say, for instance, if you sort of put a little bit of like your chapter, because this is all the things that were said to me. The docker, you'd be standing there and they'll be grafting. You go, all right, boys. You go, all right. Yeah, I see a lighterman yesterday.
Yeah.
I swear to God, he had a little bit of damp forehead here, but I was dreaming. I go, well, what would that have been, sweat? I went, no, it definitely wasn't sweat. Right. In the rain.
Right.
And then I go, I'll be early tomorrow, Harry. You go, well, you better be, because I ain't uncovering it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I go, now leave it out. When you've finished, we're going to have a nice pint of light and beer, what you like. All right, have you still got that fag, Harry? And then
I think for young people, hearing about life as it used to be direct from older people is a magic way of learning. When you're making theatre, you need to really engage with whatever the material is you're processing. They need it to really enter imaginatively into the experience of the older peoples. To be able to look around through the eyes of somebody who grew up in it 70 years ago is to see it differently. And so their sense of being members of a multi-generational community with its own history is greatly enriched by that experience.
Do you see that guy down there? He does. He's just so fit. Oh, unbelievable.
pity for her central Girls, just stop there. Just stop there a moment. We need to consult the experts. Did you see that bloke? So did you see that bloke? What? He's what? He's so cheeky. So cheeky. What about the way he looks? What does he look like?
Alright.
We say drop dead gorgeous, but no,
did you see that bloke? He's so he's a
I bet you wouldn't approach him.
And then for cricket, you get a piece of wood with 3 bits of broom handle in for stumps, and a cricket bat. I don't think anybody had a proper cricket bat. It's just a piece of old flat wood shaped like a cricket bat.
According to the rules, they've got to go over your head. You ain't got to, like this. Watch my hands flip up. Now when they come down,
tails, heads.
heads. So who was second? You. There you got 2 towels. Right, that's your head. Right? You take 1 and 2 tails. If 1 towel comes down, you have that. That's advantage in sex.
Keep back. Keep back.
I've tried. It's a long while since I've done this, David. I'm going to shove it on my own foot.
Ready? And you try and step with both feet.
No card, no.
From the older people's point of view, they get a real kick out of seeing their own memories valued by other people, particularly by younger people. And from the kids' point of view, there's something very special for them about acting, either playing the older person who is standing next to them, who's giving them the information, who's telling them what their life was like, who's giving them the story and the language. You've got sort of a very serious 10-year-old or 14-year-old or 18-year-old young person having a very deep, profound conversation with an older person about, what did you say? How should I do that? What was the saying? Or how was the game played? Or what was the factory like? Or what was it like to be a docker?
There's a mother boat turning around in the Thames. I expect she's going over on the Metropolitan on the Batty Wharf. I say, hello, there's an A boat coming up the river. He's going over on the new Fresh Wharf. It's full up with green fruit and tomatoes.
And what about over there?
Well, over there, that bloke is just discharged. He's going way down the river now. There's a tug waiting to pull him off.
Now I'll show you what we're going to do with them. Oh, they're well alive, aren't they? Look at that. Oh dear, don't let it get away. Now what we're going to do, see its head? Off comes its head. Yeah, out of it.
If he goes,
It's bread and dripping.
then it's bread and dripping.
It's bread and dripping, Joyce.
Then it's bread.
Bread and dripping.
Bread
Bread and
and dripping.
dripping. Or, hey, what you've got to do is that if you go over to the barge, it's like, let's see if I can find any ball bearings for the scooter. Right, ball bearings were like the wheel, that you'd fix them as wheels on the bottom of the scooter when you go far. And that people would always, if there's a barge there, the first thing we do is look for them. Yeah, leave them with them. Don't tell me, come on, let's see if we can find any ball bearings. Come on, let's see, come on.
Look, I tell you what, kids, go to school, be a good boy, your dad's got a job, you've got a job, get some broken biscuits tonight, yeah? Whatever night. Yeah.
Is he still out on strike? Of course he is, Mum. What do you expect? It's the same for everyone around here now, isn't it?
Mom, I'm hungry.
I
Village. I was on leave from the Merchant Navy at the time. And I was over at Blackheath Village with a friend of mine that was also on leave from the Air Force. We were coming back home across Blackheath when the warning went. And we looked back and we could see the searchlights going across the sky to the south. And as we ran through Greenwich Park, we could hear the guns going off in the distance. And by the time we got down to the Greenwich Foot tunnel, the bombs were dropping. And we ran through the Greenwich tunnel, we got on a bus, but this time the bombs were quite near. And he got as far as McConaughey's, which was a big provision factory, who also had a communal shelter. And the driver stopped the bus and he said, "I'm not going any further, I'm going in their shelter." And my mate and I got off and we ran home. He lived in the same street. And I ran down the street. And my mum and dad had left the front door open and I ran through the house, out the back, dived head first into the shelter. And I crouched there and bombs were dropping all around. All of a sudden there was one terrific great scream of a bomb, a terrific explosion, and the air raid shelter rocked like mad. And I didn't know at the time until the following morning the bulletins called a direct hit. And there were about 90 people killed there. And I had a friend who was away in Britain in the army at the time. And as an example of the damage it did, he lost his mother, father, 2-year-old baby that they'd adopted, his youngest sister, 2 aunts and an uncle. And one surviving sister was badly injured. And I don't think I've ever been so scared in my life.
I thought it was fun and yeah, everybody had a great time and it was nice to work with old people.
Why was it nice to work with old people?
Because it's different and you meet so many people and it's like amazing what old people can do, because sometimes people tend to think that old people can't do things, but it's really nice to see them acting.
There's quite a lot of the stuff that happened to them, you know, you never dream of happening to us now. And some of the stuff because some of them who were so poor, some of the stuff they used to do to try and get stuff, it's totally amazing.
I was a very lucky person to be working amongst so many wonderful people, more so with the children, because I think they was well behaved when it mattered most. And now it's all finished, I say to myself, well, I enjoyed it. There were times when I, getting bored with it, but after everything was finished, I missed it so much. It was wonderful, marvellous.
And it shows you what life was like before, instead of reading it in books. You've actually got people that have experienced it and can tell you.
To a point, they know me as a dock worker and also as neighbours. I wouldn't have seen them. I could have found them. Any residents working along the river, I knew them from face value rather than by name, and also working in the industries I did for 20 years. I'll go back and do it tomorrow.
And what was the most interesting thing in the play?
Talking to the old people, that's probably the best bit. Yeah, because then you get to find out a lot about history more than from textbooks and stuff. And it makes you it gives you more information, because then you know, instead of knowing what it was like, you know how it felt, stuff like that. And when my uncle, who worked on the docks, was talking about the docks, you could actually, rather than just sitting there taking it all in, you can add things to it.
It's very different from what
nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays.
Like I enjoyed like the little stories that like they were actually real, but like when it first come in the script straight in front of me, I didn't believe half of them, like making the horse collapse.
Yeah, making the horse drunk.
I thought it was just a made up one, but it was actually real.
Brilliant.
I liked it because we're all ages, you know. That's
well,
what
they're
I can relate to all ages.
It was fun. It was like they were like teenagers, but in old people's bodies.
Yeah.
It was really good working with them.
Oh, I
Annie,
loved
brilliant.
it.
She's a natural.
Absolutely adore. I love them.
Oh, she was good. Yeah.
Brilliant. It really gets you out of yourself. You get stuck in the mud, don't you? When
Yes.
you
And David, he...
And it meant getting up, getting dressed, getting, dogged up and meeting people. Of course, that was the most fantastic thing about it, was meeting friends, making new friends. Very, very touching subject, very happy subject, funny, and I enjoyed doing it. It was an era of times when things were so different than they are today.
And people were different, no doubt about it. People were different.
Everybody helped.
It sounds awful saying this to you,
Everybody helped one another, didn't they?
As best as we could, we try to make it come to life, as life was in the days that we was presented, sort of thing. Yeah, it was good. It was the things, the sayings, the comradeship that people had years ago. Neighbours were neighbours, not enemies, like they are today. And just put a true reflection on how life was. Not only how people lived in the streets, but also how men worked in the docks and the local pub in the local area. I made some wonderful friends while I was doing it, and to me, I'll give it a thumbs up.